Every time your computer starts, a decision is made before your operating system loads. Before Windows, before Linux, before anything you installed, the firmware on your motherboard runs a check. It looks at the bootloader. It compares a cryptographic signature against a list of trusted keys stored in your own hardware. If the signature matches, the system boots. If it does not match, the system stops. That process is called secure boot, and on every PC shipped with Windows 8 or later, the keys making that decision belong to Microsoft, not to you, not to your hardware manufacturer, to Microsoft. In June 2026, one of the certificates anchoring that system expired. Billions of devices were affected. Linux users who had done nothing wrong found their systems flagged. A Microsoft update broke Linux on dual boot machines that had never been compromised. It was the second time that had happened in 2 years. This video explains why that keeps happening, starting at the mechanism. When your PC powers on, the UEFI firmware runs first. UEFI stands for Unified Extensible Firmware Interface. It replaced the old BIOS standard around 2011 and is built into the motherboard of every modern computer. UEFI handles hardware initialization before any operating system loads. It also controls secure boot. Secure boot maintains 2 databases in your firmware. The first is called DB, the Allowed Signature Database. It holds the cryptographic keys and certificate hashes your system trusts to boot from. The second is called DBX, the Forbidden Signature Database. It holds signatures that have been revoked and blocked from booting. When you press the power button, UEFI checks your bootloader against both. Allowed and not revoked, the system boots. Flagged in either database, it stops. The goal is protection against a specific class of attack called a bootkit. A bootkit is malware that installs itself in the bootloader before the operating system loads. It runs before your antivirus, before your security software, before anything that starts after it. Secure boot blocks it by requiring every component in the boot chain to carry a trusted cryptographic signature. That is the stated purpose: protection against pre-OS malware. What most users have never been told is this: on almost every consumer PC sold in the last 13 years, the keys in that DB database include a certificate issued by Microsoft. Not your certificate, not your hardware manufacturer's certificate, Microsoft's. When PC manufacturers build a machine that ships with Windows, they put Microsoft's certificate authority in the firmware by default. It is a requirement for Windows certification. The firmware trusts Microsoft. That means for any operating system to boot on that machine with secure boot enabled, it needs a bootloader signed by a key the firmware recognizes, and the firmware recognizes Microsoft. Linux distributions do not have their keys pre-installed in the firmware of most consumer hardware, so they use a workaround called shim. Shim is a small first-stage bootloader signed by Microsoft. When a Linux system boots on secure boot hardware, the UEFI firmware checks shim against the DB database, confirms it carries Microsoft's signature, and allows it to load. Shim then checks the actual Linux bootloader, grub, against its own embedded distribution keys.
Grub checks the Linux kernel. The kernel checks its modules. The chain runs like this. UEFI firmware trusts Microsoft. Microsoft signed the shim. Shim trusts the distributions key. The distributions key signed grub. Grub trusts the kernel. The kernel loads. Every major Linux distribution runs this model: Ubuntu, Fedora, Debian, Linux Mint, OpenSUSE. Every one of them routes boot trust through a Microsoft-signed shim. So every time your Linux machine boots with Secure Boot enabled, it does so because Microsoft authorized that specific bootloader to run on your hardware. Not because you authorized it, not because your hardware manufacturer did, because Microsoft did. In June 2026, 2 separate Secure Boot events happened at the same time. The first was a certificate expiration. The Microsoft Corporation KEC 2011, a key exchange key certificate that had underpinned secure boot trust since the Windows 8 era, reached its expiration date on June 24, 2026. A second certificate, the Microsoft UEFI KEC 2011, expired on June 27. A third, the Microsoft Windows Production PCA 2011, was set to expire in October 2026. Expiration does not mean existing signed bootloaders immediately stop working. It means no new signatures can be issued under that certificate, and the revocation infrastructure that depends on it stops functioning for machines that have not migrated to the 2023 certificate chain. For users on older hardware whose OEM does not push a firmware update to add the new 2023 certificates to its trust store, the consequences compound. No future DBX revocation updates, no ability to block newly discovered malicious bootloaders at the firmware level. The boot chain freezes at its last 2011 signed state with no path forward. The second event was a revocation. On June 9, 2026, Microsoft's Patch Tuesday update, KB 5014126, revoked 11 Linux shim bootloaders. Security researchers at ESBAT found these shims, all at version 0.9 or below, were old enough to bypass secure boot protections that modern shims enforce. An attacker with physical access to a machine could swap a current shim for one of these older, still trusted versions and load bootloader code that current policy already blocks. Revoking them closes that specific attack surface. The revocations hit the DBX database via the June and July 2026 Patch Tuesday cumulative updates. These two events are related, but not the same thing. The certificate expiration affects the long-term infrastructure of secure boot. The shim revocations address a specific active attack vector. To understand June 2026 in full, August 2024 matters. ESBAT stands for Secure Boot Advanced Targeting. It is a version-based revocation mechanism built collaboratively by the Linux community and Microsoft to solve a scale problem. Revoking individual bootloaded binaries by hash requires adding entries to the DBX database. That database has a finite size. ESBAT lets systems revoke entire generations of bootloaders by version number instead of individual hashes. In August 2024, Microsoft deployed an ESBAT policy update, KB 501571, to block versions of Grub2 vulnerable to CVE 2022-2601. The update was supposed to detect dual boot configurations and exempt them. That detection failed. Linux installations on dual boot systems stopped booting, not because they were compromised, not because they were vulnerable, because the detection logic did not work.
Machines that had never been touched by any attacker displayed verifying shim ESBAT data failed. Security policy violation. Microsoft acknowledged the failure and issued a fix, but the pattern was established. A Windows update, applied to fix a Windows-adjacent security problem, blocked Linux on machines where the Linux users had done nothing wrong. The mechanism that caused that failure is the same mechanism active in June 2026 and every year after. Microsoft has the authority to add entries to the DBX database. Those entries propagate to your machine through Windows Update. If an entry matches a signature your Linux bootloader carries, your Linux installation stops booting. That is not a bug, it is how the system is designed. The UEFI trust hierarchy has three key types. The platform key, or PK, belongs to the hardware manufacturer. It is the root of trust and authorizes updates to the other key databases. The key exchange key, or KEK, authorizes changes to DB and DBX. The signature database, DB, holds keys trusted to sign bootloaders. The forbidden signature database, DBX, holds revoked keys and hashes. On most consumer hardware, the OEM sets the platform key during manufacturing. Users cannot change it. The KEK includes Microsoft certificate. Microsoft, therefore, authorizes updates to DB and DBX. Through Windows Update, those updates reach your machine automatically. On a standard consumer PC with Secure Boot enabled, Microsoft holds the authority to add entries to your system's forbidden bootloader list. Your explicit approval is not required for each entry. That authority blocked Linux bootloaders in August 2024, unintentionally. It revoked 11 Linux shims in June 2026, intentionally. The June 2026 revocations targeted genuinely vulnerable shims. The stated purpose was legitimate. The mechanism that executed them is identical to the one that caused the 2024 failure. The question is not whether the June 2026 revocations were justified. The question is structural. On your own hardware, running your own chosen operating system, a third party holds the key authority to decide what boots. If you run Linux on hardware that's shipped with Windows with Secure Boot enabled, your boot process runs through a Microsoft-signed shim. That shim is subject to Microsoft's signing authority, its certificate lifecycle, and its DBX revocation decisions. If you run a dual boot system, Windows Update can apply DBX changes that affect your Linux installation. It already has. If you run Linux on older hardware and your OEM does not push a firmware update to migrate to the 2023 Microsoft certificate chain, your system's DBX revocation capability is frozen. Future firmware-level threats cannot be blocked at the firmware level on your machine. None of this means Secure Boot is bad. It protects against a real class of attack. A machine without Secure Boot has no firmware-level defense against bootkit malware at startup. The question is whether you know who holds the signing authority on your hardware, what decisions that authority can make, and what happens when they make them. On most consumer PCs, the answer is Microsoft, and most users have never been told that. That is what Secure Boot actually controls. Proton VPN is in the description. It is privacy infrastructure that does not require anyone else's permission to run. Subscribe. Sudo Bit Logic is just getting started.